In this VisionSpace presentation, we build on earlier work to look specifically at the extents of phenomenal field and how we can start to perhaps induce this awareness from projected media and our information display systems. As we are all very much aware, there are extents or confines governing what we can directly see at any one point in time, dictated by our physiology. One aspect of which relates to the extents of visual field. What occurs outside visual field, as we look straight ahead, is thought of as lying outside, or as negative space, or even nothing. We have various means of moving visual field to address the darkness. Eye movement with the head still pointing straight ahead, head and torso movements. All of these can be engaged in while rooted to the spot. The extent allowed for by these movements and their controlling constraints is what I refer to as phenomenal field. Of course, we can freely walk about the place, but for our purposes here we can think of this as action that occurs to phenomenal field. Something requiring dynamic flow in addition to what we will be discussing. The proposition is that our memory retains information about what we have looked at previously, and that to some degree we retain awareness of that local history. So phenomenal field is not black or empty. It's compiling environmental awareness using short-term memory, fixation by fixation. A situation where what we are looking at any one point in time is considered in relation to what has gone before, that there is a subconscious awareness. Current forms of information display, at least to some degree, impede this process, as the various technologies involved fail to replicate either the data structures apparent in visual field or the processes that lead to the broader environmental awareness of phenomenal field. Phenomenal field develops in relation to visual field and the eye, head and torso related movements that parameterize it. Starting with eye movements, we can easily understand the degrees of freedom. We implicitly understand these parameters, seeing one fixation and the spatial relationships in the scene in relation to what occurred previously. They take place within a broader context. I'm about to embark on an experimental painting to portray aspects of phenomenal field that exist in short-term memory and so contribute to this environmental awareness. I will record 4 fixations requiring eye movements within one painting. Formerly, artists have used triptychs to attempt to convey something of the importance of fixation. Traces will be left of the former fixations, painting only the last fixation in full VisionSpace rendering. This is going to be a nightmare to plot and take some time to execute. However, by using this mock-up slide and a bit of imagination, I think we can explore the implications before the event. I think I should also mention that there's a rather out-of-date PowerPoint on the PAC site that took an early look at some of the implications of VisionSpace in filmmaking. We can consider using IMAX and dome projection systems to present media seeking to develop phenomenal field awareness in audiences. This will involve filmmakers thinking in terms of fixation and the required saccadic eye movements, not just as an aid to storytelling, but also to engender phenomenal field. In this way, the population of phenomenal field, with camera movements and the use of screen in an active way, would form a vital part in generating a sense of first-person awareness. The elusive being there factor. Metadata would be required referencing the camera rotations while on set, and the projector or projectors used to screen the media would need to either rotate to replicate the various positions of visual field, or the rotations to be post-processed into the media. In addition to phenomenal field being fed by short-term memory, it could also be used to reference aspects of longer-term memory. These inclusions might refer to former visits to the same place, or recollections associated with the action taking place within the scene. With help from a former painting, we can explore the extents related to head movements. There are 4 fixations made here. We can then reduce the 4 associated visual fields in order that they are all included in the same frame. However, this is not the correct location for the paintings with respect to phenomenal field. The 4 fixations take place only in a portion of phenomenal field, so their correct position would be something like this on a screen. Notice, of course, the screen should really be circular or slightly elliptical. There are no frames in Vision, the square frame being essentially a picture space device. As you can appreciate, the full extent of head-related phenomenal field could be transversed with just two fixations, along with their respective visual fields, one fixation to the left and one to the right. However, this leaves considerable gaps and thin information areas. We'd have difficulty working with that, so we usually fixate many more times in order to populate phenomenal field with more rich information about the scene. We can track horizontally, look upward and continue horizontally, or look down. We have one more degree of freedom open to us without moving our feet. We can flex our torso, ensuring a 360-degree field of awareness. We must not forget, of course, that the phenomenal field of audition is also 360 degrees, and audition space should be used to support vision space. They both get generated within our perceptual structure. I think it's clear from vision space that mind, in the formation of experiential reality, does not generate maps, grids, requiring coordinates or pictures. These concepts have nothing to do with our everyday encounter of real settings. They're not being manifested in the brain to be accessed, viewed, or otherwise comprehended. If they have a home, then they belong to the conceptual realm, being post-perceptual, which can make its own unique contribution to realizing our intent in the world. However, in first-hand experiential terms, we develop a relationship with the real at a perceptual level, involving both the realization of a field of spatial values that's constantly in flux, together with the contemplation of form taking place in macular vision. We encounter the world in relation to ourselves via perceptual structure that we generate and control. We don't read, project, or model the environment in order to comprehend it. Vision occurs to us. There are some rather obvious advantages to this system, and it's time that we learn to work with them and exploit them in our communication and information display systems.